Today on the Topping Show, the comment section without Brett Cooper seems to have more and more bots as views continue to crash. Rivian to debut a new limited Dune edition vehicle to hopefully bolster profits. Endeavor Air has all of their videos going viral where they only have female pilots, as more and more suspiciously think we're the people who crushed the plane DEI hires. DOGE finds $2 billion of taxpayer funds earmarked for Stacey Abrams' nonprofit. And Ryobi lawnmower is being recalled. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and serves this company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's measy, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you could reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, we're still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have EV maker Rivian to debut a limited edition called the Dune. Ooh. Hopefully they'll bolster their profits, and again, not financial advice, but their stock is still, well, disappointing to say the least. Good thing Saudi Arabia is a big investor and they don't want it to die. Now, I want to say, well, what would be of greater value? A McDonald's meal or a share of Rivian? I say it because it's about the same price point. Things are pretty rough. In the past 5 years, the stock has dropped 89.45%. Granted, by the time the video is rendered and uploaded, it'll change because that's what the stock market does. But yeah, not looking good, Rivian. Past years, down 13% year to date. Oh, went up by 2.89%. 6 months, about 3% increase. But yeah, let's just say, what was their IPO? Also $129.95 per share. Yeah, things aren't looking great. Still losing about $38,000 per vehicle. But maybe this will be better. Maybe. Now, the good news is, fancy limited editions. I say that obviously being sarcastic because that's everything in the world. Everything is limited, technically speaking. Just, and the most hilarious thing is when Toyota has their limited editions as a trim level. Yes, it is limited by the number of units it can sell. That's pretty much the only limitation for that. And with this, but as crazy as it sounds, people might buy it because they hear the word limited. They think, ooh, maybe it'll be worth more in the future. It won't. Now, this comes to us thanks to a writer at Electric, specifically Jamison, and they say, quote, Rivian announces a new off-road focused California Dune Edition R1. Ooh, a Dune Edition with extra big tires, hopefully. Maybe even fancier seats, perhaps. Now, they say, quote, Rivian has announced a new California Dune Edition version of its new tri-motor R1 in a special color and with listed options focused on off-road performance. I mean, it is California, which is becoming almost like a Mad Max place with all the crime over there. They should probably make it bullet resistant. That'd probably be more value add if you were to drive this in San Francisco, for example. Now, they say, quote, Rivian announced a new California Dune Edition version, and they note that it'll look something like this, which looks, what is it? The paint is a little creamier. It looks like a Toyota. It looks like the cream truck colors that they have at Toyota, which we'll see. Now, they say it'll be available in limited numbers, of course. And it says not only as new exterior and interior colors, but Rivian says they're, quote, inspired by mesmerizing landscapes of California desert dunes, which if it's really inspired by California, half the truck will be burnt, well, partially because of the ineptitudes of the poor planning around the fire, but also because of the increased exponential amount of crime. Also, probably be missing a couple headlights because people would steal those and rims, but I partially digress. They say it also includes a whole different set focused on off-road and less flashiness and luxury. They see it in service of this towards off-roading. The California Dune Edition drops Rivian's new Ascend interior, otherwise included in the tri-motor R1s. It's far more rugged, less luxe, that's a word, adventure interior. So miss out on the new Ascend features like passenger lumbar adjustment, electrochromatic roof, and so on, which They did it. They found a way to make the interior look more bland and boring than usual. And the brilliance is that they'll actually charge more for this, which, yeah, I was gonna say it's good business. People will buy this probably. Well, let's see what the price point is though. Let's see. It'll have, in exchange for this, you'll have a number of features, including a dark out package, fancy, all-terrain package, sound and vision package. Okay. Power Tanto cover, one pair of dark cargo crossbars, matrix recovery boards, and matrix recovery mount. All right, some cardboard. Kidding us off-roading stuff. There you can see some up close to the new rim design. Ooh, that's fancy. While the new Rivian R1 is already no slouch when it comes to off-road performance, there are some improvements that had to be made, as is the case most vehicles you buy off lot. Grammar be damned. Let's see here. It also includes a third-party accessory, the matrix recovery boards, mounted to the included roof cargo rack. These recovery boards are used to help get car out when it's stuck in the sands. Oh, that's fancy. You can't get those on Amazon.com, I bet. There you can see the picture of them mounted to the roof of the truck. Which... it looks fancy. Woo, look at that. You got some sand being thrown into the air. Oh, you get the most comical part. All this comes at the same base price as regular R1 tri-motor, $99,900 for the RT1, and $105,900 for the R1S before the extortion tax. I think Texas registration is 6.25%, something like that. Jeez Louise. What a ripoff. They say the California Dune Edition is available at Rivian.com. Oh boy. And will be displayed live at some event in Austin, Texas from March 7th to 5th at Rivian's Electric Roadhouse. And here's some more up-close pictures of the vehicle. How are they not charging? I still can't believe they're not charging more than the base price. This is F- for a business model. It's supposed to be to bolster profits. Because again, people will pay more for this crap. Every automotive company does it. I guess the enthusiasts will like that, but if I was a shareholder, I'd be pretty irate. Be like, what do you mean you're not upcharging these folks for including extra crap onto this vehicle? It's like every other company does it. It is a differential. I guess you are differentiating yourself from the crowd. This is a Toyota TRD Banana Falcon off-roader. It'd be, 10, 20, 30 grand more, whatever. And you would have, a lot of the similar accessories being bolted on there. So I'm actually astonished they're not charging more for this because the whole purpose of it is to bolster profits. But we'll see how many of these actually sell. I mean, this is supposed to be an outdoorsy truck. But again, also if you're going outdoors and you're doing all these things, you deplete the battery to nothing, which is why, people who actually off-road, you'll see them bolt on extra canisters of gasoline, or if you're British, petrol, onto the side of their vehicle. And that way when they run out, they can refill. Because again, if you're camping or going off-roading in the middle of nowhere, there's not infrastructure. That's half the fun, is being secluded out in the middle of nowhere, absorbing nature. And I don't think the electric crowd realizes this, or the manufacturers realize this. Not a lot of charging stations in the middle of a desert, I wouldn't think. But yeah, let me know if you think this is a good business idea. We'll see how many of these units they actually sell. I mean, they're making headlines. That's something. But let's just say a little suspicious, to say the least. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. And going over to the Cultural Pod podcast, you have the comment section without Brett Cooper and with Reagan, which some people call Timu Brett Cooper, continuing to have more and more bots, apparently, which I can't help but wonder, why are all these bots popping up more and more, all while their views are dropping and the ratings are dropping. But the Daily Wire has not given up yet. They're still sticking with Reagan for now. Although, again, the views are crashing and the comments are mostly vitriol. Well, again, there are a couple positive comments, some by real people, believe it or not. I did some deep digging for this investigation, but a lot of them, spoiler alert, not so much. Now, we'll listen to her for a New York Minute. Perhaps the Daily Wire is going in a new direction. They're going to let her do her own thing. She's not going to copy Brett's mannerisms or her tone of voice or the background. Oh, wait. Well, it looks like the same studio. They didn't even let her, I wonder if they even let her bring her own cup to work, or if she has to use the same coffee mug that Brett used back in the day, which I wouldn't recommend just for sanitary reasons. I know you can wash it in the dishwasher, but still, there's something weird about that, right? Like, if you go to work, you wouldn't let someone borrow your coffee mug. To me, that's just weird. But nevertheless, let's hear what she has to say.
Fish that went viral over the weekend. But before I even show you that fish, the aquatic news...
I'll be damned, she does have a new cup. Look at that.
...started actually with another video of a man getting eaten by a whale.
Something very familiar about all this.
And then released, of course. But just watch this video because it's so insane. Apparently, also, this was the guy's dad filming this. It's so casual. I still, like, want to confirm that this is not AI because the camera and the lack of screaming is, like, what's going on? It's like he knew, like, okay, any second now it's just gonna take me in. No screen, nothing is, that's why I don't understand this footage. So if this all comes out to be AI in the future, I'm giving the
Nope, not really. Still the same mannerisms, same voice tone, and enunciation patterns of Brett. But she's hanging in there. They've got, woohoo, 18,000 views in the first 24 hours and 1,000 likes, which, yeah, we thought it was bad when she was getting 30,000 views per video. And Brett Cooper's getting between 1 and 2 million views per video, which, yeah, I think it's a pretty cut clear. She's also, I mean, the comment section is now down to 3.92 million subscribers. They've lost nearly 1 million since this whole debacle has begun, which is, yeah, not great. Now, going to the comment section, which is where the real fun is, you have to scroll for quite some time. But one of the first ones I noticed, and again, I'll use movie magic to put this in post-production on the screen, here, or here, somewhere in there, or perhaps I'll just plaster it all over my face. One of the first comments comes from someone by the name of Gia G, which, yes, Gia G, I mean, just the name sounds suspicious because, well, her name is Gia, J-I-A-G, and is a busty white gal, and her profile is, hey, hit me up, let's have fun. And the URL is tinyurl.com/mylink. Spoiler alert, it's a trash website. Interestingly enough, this is the same thing we saw a couple weeks ago. The same tinyurl.com. Now, the reason it's important, because again, this is not like a comment that got 0 likes. Gia GA10, she's one of the top comments on this video. It got 31 likes, and her comment was simply this: "This is so cool. You're crushing it. Keep sharing more," which are nice words and accolades. However, the most bland copy-paste comment on the planet that can apply to pretty much every video ever made since the dawn of time. Basically. So that's why I'm a little suspicious of fake comment number 1. Now, fake comment number 2 comes from an even weirder name, which, again, that's saying something. It's coming from me. Topping. So, you know, I don't have much of a soapbox to stand on or much ground to stand on. Now, this one I did actually find just from scrolling. And, I gotta fix the Zoom one these days. She got 46 likes. Well, I say allegedly she, it's a, you know, most likely a bot. And in this one, I'll put on the screen movie magic. And this is from Zufia Volasanova, which, hilariously enough, I don't actually usually try to butcher names with the enunciations or lack of pronunciations. I'm not trying to. Zufia, which sounds fancy. Zufia Vlasasova. Sounds like a Swedish drink. Her last name is, first name is Zulfia, and then last name is Vlasova. Vlasova? Or is that Russian? Zuvia Zaslova Koloshnikov. That's the only word I know is Koloshnikov. No, I'm kidding. I know many words. And this is another very attractive woman. She's wearing a bathing suit, which I don't know how many people do that on their actual profile pictures, but yeah, she says, quote, "You've earned all the praise for this. Stay humble." Yeah, again, another bland, again, it's important because it's one of the top comments. Got 46 likes. And yet, that's also a comment that can be applied to anyone. Go to her actual profile on the YouTube, and Zufia Zafisova, her description is, "I love talking, text me." She does have 5 subscribers, though. She has something going for her. She loves to talk. Text me. What is this, 1998? Who texts anymore? Everyone nowadays that I know uses a good old mail. Just write a letter and gets to someone eventually. It's much more exciting. Anything could happen. It might not even get to the person. Much more interesting than a rudimentary text message. But nevertheless, she has the same URL. Again, tinyurl/contact link 243. Yeah. So that's fake comment number 2. Now, number 3, pulling her up. This comes from, her name is Greta Ailman. Another very attractive, busty woman. Which again, red flag number, that's the biggest red flag of all. Attractive women rarely speak online for free. I was actually, in the past year, 2 years I've been doing this. I got one nice compliment from a female fan who did have an attractive profile picture, and I appreciate that. Made my day. Actually looked at her profile, and the profile wasn't created overnight, and it wasn't tinyurl.com. So that was a real positive comment out of 2 years. And yet, most of the comments on the Reagan show, or as some people call it, the Timu Brett Cooper show, but in all seriousness, the comment section, they're all the same gal. So in this case, it's a busty gal in a bikini. Her name is Greta, Ailman, which at least is a more normal name. And she has the pointy emoji and featured, again, this is on her YouTube page, hashtag Greta, GRETAALEMAN. She has 1 subscriber. And her featured, if you go to her profile, is called Top Girls, which are not related to me. It's not like Toppings Girls. There's Top Girls, which, yeah, that is a weird name. Again, that's kind of for me. And that has 253 subscribers, and that is simply, they chopped off the face. It's literally just a picture of the bust of the gal. That person does have 283 subscribers. And they're having a huge subscriber rate growth. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Maybe after after I've already done 532 episodes, maybe at the 600th episode, to entice more viewers, I will unbutton the second button of my button-up shirt. I mean, from day one, I've had the top button undone. Perhaps some a little too casual for some. I understand that. A little out there, so to say. But maybe after a couple hundred episodes, I will unbutton the second top button. Perhaps. Don't get too excited, folks. Now, Greta Ailman and her alleged comment, let's see here. She says, quote, "Your channel is a real find. The quality of the videos and the representation of information is top notch. Thank you so much for your hard work." Another big red flag, emojis. Unless someone's in love with you, they're not sending you 1, yet alone 3 emojis. Going overboard here. And she says, "Thank you so much for your hard work." And it's the bicycle emoji, which I don't think Reagan goes on a bicycle. At least she never does in the show. And the bow emoji, which, unless you're buying a new car, I never really see a big bow in the real world. And then a black circle, which perhaps just emotionally that signifies the channel, the comment section becoming empty and vacuous. I'm reading too much into this. But that did get 6 likes. Again, one of the other top comments there. Now, fake profile number 4 comes from, again, another very attractive woman, Christina Giddy, with 1 subscriber. And again, the pointing down emoji in her profile, her hashtag is Christina Gidney -P3X. She also has 1 subscriber. The suspicious thing is, look at what the top feature is. It's the same girl, Top Girls, with 284 subscribers. Which, again, the Daily Wire is a conservative media company. They don't have promiscuous women. They don't have, it's a nice way of keeping this family friendly. They do not have women of the night who are probably fans of the company and are posting. These aren't authentic, real gals. And again, they have the same tinyurl.org.com, whatever. They wish it was .org, save some money on taxes. But yeah, so Christina Giddy. And her comment, because fake comment number 4, she says, quote, "Your videos always stand out for their quality and originality. Thank you for your contribution." Thumbs up emoji, peace emoji, and exploding emoji. It's a lot of emojis. Your originality. It's just Brett Cooper, but with a new gal. So that's why you know this is a BS comment. Your originality. No, not at all. And this did get only 2 likes, but infinitely more than 0, which some of my videos get. So statistically speaking, an infinite amount of likes in comparison. So another comment there. Now, go to fake comment number 5. Again, this is probably going to be one of the last ones as we dive more. This is yet another one called this one's called hashtag Sheldon Thorstenson. And that is simply a picture of a gal. It looks like a Fruit and Loom commercial from the 1990s, where it's the bottom part. And her name is Check Bio. Yeah, the hashtag, but like the name is Check Bio. And F- for grammar. I don't know why this annoys me. It's not BIO, it's BI0, which also looks aesthetically ridiculous. I don't know why that bugs me as well. And her subscriber, and again, it's that same check below, is Alice McDonald, which is an attractive woman with 58 subscribers, and I don't think she's real either. Now, going to, well, let's see here, comment number 5. Theldon Thrishnishishajan? Again, not, oh, okay, in that case, I was trying to butcher the pronunciation. She says, quote, I showed this video to my boss, and now we have a new way to spend our breaks. Laughter together. Cherry emoji? I can only suspect you're drinking, what is it, Shirley Temple margaritas? Which, it's mostly empty calories. It's mostly corn syrup, if I recall from my youth. Which, I'm man enough to admit, I did have those growing up as a child. We went to a fancy restaurant every once in a while as a family. Yeah, Shirley Temple. That was fancy. That was pinky high fancy back in the day. Which again is just, I believe, 7-Up or Sprite, and then about 500 calories in corn syrup, and then a cherry. Which, yeah, definitely not healthy, but tasted good back then. Now, again, now going to that URL, also the suspicious profile. Let's see here. The URL is, let's see here, pull it up on the screen. In theory, boom, right on the screen there. Go to the tinyurl.com. It's, and again, try to keep this moderately family friendly. It's a website with, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4 gals at the top, and it says, like, well, alleged, they don't know your information. It says, like, you match with this girl. And then it says, how do I keep this friendly? Welcome to the platform where we value healthy love and adult activity relationships. Without falling into the meaningless romanticism or rabid lust, take our short quiz to discover your perfect match. Which, again, no. A lot of people make fun of the Daily Wire, and they'll say they're not really conservative, that there's a debate that in and of itself. Like, if anything, they would do like christianmingle.com, which ironically, it's owned by the same company, Tinder. Everything's owned by Match.com these days, realistically. The only competitor, I think, is the Facebook. And technically, Bumble is still independent somehow. They have 18 people on the platform still. I'm on there. 19 people, okay. And yeah, it's so all these guys have the same, tinyurl.com, and it goes to this website where it's a BS. And again, there are all the nice comments on here. And again, statistically speaking, just fiscally speaking, I don't see how the comment section can pull out this nosedive. Now, interestingly enough, the Daily Wire doesn't seem to be spending any money on marketing, which is why I'm so suspicious they're going to do a sale or acquisition to a bigger company. Their co-founder, Jeremy Boring, has hinted they'd be a good fit for Fox in the past. But I say this because usually when you talk about, well, anything, your phone will hear it and, you'll see advertisements the next day. I was talking about a mechanical keyboard for a while. That's half the ads I have. And just for spite, I'm not buying a new one. The old one works just fine. But I was talking about it with a friend. And I talk about the Daily Wire a lot. I think they have some exceptional personalities, too. Don't get me wrong. Matt Walsh makes some hilarious documentaries. They're awesome. And yet, I'm not seeing a single advertisement about the Daily Wire. Which, and again, they're worth $1 billion valuation. They get about $200 million in terms of recurring revenue. And they have budget to spend. And how am I not seeing any ads? So that's why I'm suspicious. Are they pulling the plug on marketing in general? I mean, they're down to getting like 15 to 20,000 views per video, which fiscally speaking, that's a loss for the company. They have 250 employees, made them full time, and they only have 5 to 6 like podcasters or personalities on the show, or who have their own shows. Those have to be knocking it out of the park for them to get an ROI. And you look at the comment section, they're bleeding so many subscribers and so many views. It's estimated the channel per year is making $380,000 per year. That's just that's from socialblade.com, but that's still not sustainable from a business perspective. That's probably how much they pay her alone. And they have, producers, they have writers, they have editors, they have social media teams that's putting this out to every platform on the planet. That's a big loss leader, or loss. I don't know if it's really a leader anymore. That's why I'm suspicious. I don't know how long her show could really be sustainable. So we'll see how long it's around. And they seem to be doing some censorship in the comments section. Man, let me know. Do you think, these bots will eventually get rid of it? And do you think they're paying for these bots, or just regular spam? It's a little suspicious that, some of them are, pre-polished about the show, where, I've gotten some spam in the past. It's usually about some BS crypto and asking about wallets and keys and bananas. I don't understand. This usually has nothing to do with the video. That's probably the easiest way to spot a bot. So let me know. Do you think these are paid bots for positive comments? Do you think it's just a scam to get that, the adult chat thingamajig? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Endeavor Air and their all-female videos for the crew of the planes going viral, as more and more speculate, did they crash because of a DEI hire and not hiring the best of the best? but rather based on things people can control like race and gender. Now, this comes with thanks to End Wokeness. And he says, quote, "The plane that crashed into Toronto was a Delta flight operated by Endeavour Air, a small airline obsessed with all-female, quote-unquote, unmanned flights," which, yeah, I at least do appreciate the pun where, again, they leaned into it because, again, unmanned usually means there's, no one in the plane, and yet they're using the pun of, oh, it's an all-female crew, which, yeah, probably not the best business model to exclude people based on their gender. Pretty morally vacuous as well as illegal, and I don't think the consumers on average appreciate people being discriminated like that. Now, as youth might say, this is cringe, but it's only about a minute and 10 seconds. It might feel like an eternity, but we'll get through it together. Hopefully. No promises.
Girls, come on. Leave the saving the world to the men? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Perhaps the one time you're thanking God you're watching this on the YouTube, they usually strip out music or have me strip out music if it's copywritten. But if you're watching on the Rumble or the Spotify or the Apple Podcast, your ears might hurt as well.
Fast, die young, bad girls do it well. Live fast, die young.
That's a good advertisement. Standing right by the logo, Endeavour Air.
Fast, die young.
No, we ain't giving no hold. I ain't Romeo and I'll hold. Making a party, chocolate.
All the gals wearing their black mask.
Barbie.
Which, ironically, the safest place to be during, biological threats is an airplane because of the HEPA filters out there. Though they still have to wear masks for reasons.
Waiting on me for
This is straight from the company's TikTok, Endeavour Air. There's Delta Airlines. They have which again, talk about a rudimentary job. They have a gal at a convention showing people how to assemble the seatbelt that you're supposed to put on an airplane, which, again, I understand this is a job of a flight stewardess to help people with the seatbelt and not to be elitist. However, if you can't put on a seatbelt, I don't think you should be allowed to fly unless you're mentally, unless you have a mental ailment. Like, if you don't know how to put on a seatbelt, come on. Like, how it's hilarious that's part of their job. And if you need a seatbelt extender, yeah, you don't need to fly, you need to walk. Granted, I know some people have some health issues. I have a couple friends like that, where it is inherently for them harder to lose the weight, but still, an extra seatbelt when the seatbelt's already ginormous. But no topic for no time, perhaps.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
So what is your name as a group?
The Click.
Click or click?
Click.
Let's do it.
Insufferable. And they, those are advertising. They put this proudly out onto the internet, onto the TikTok for millions of people presumably to like it. Because again, culturally speaking, there are some people who love this, and they would probably pay a premium to have a plane that's flown by people, not the best, but are of a category that is discriminating some folks. Not a business model I would choose, but it's one they made. Now, that got 25.7 million views, as youth might say, going viral, getting 158,000 likes. Could we be the one to get?
Girls, come on!
Oh, sorry, Elon. I don't know why you think that's a feature. It's a bug. The video resets automatically after you watch it. Now, the first comment comes from End Wokeness, and he says, "quote Oddly enough, we still have no details on the plane crash pilots." Yeah, that's, you know why. If he was an old guy, they would have told you day one. This is the same thing we see with all these incidents. The longer they try to hide the data, the more guilty you know they are. Now, Jay says, quote, "So Delta outsources their pilots and crew to a full-blown woke DEI company called Endeavour Air, getting 1.4 thousand likes." Yes. Elon says, "Who are the pilots?" Getting 10,000 likes. Good question. Maybe someday they'll tell us. And again, the data's there. It's not like this disappeared into like somewhere uninhabitable. Like the plane didn't crash somewhere uninhabitable where you're like, it's not possible to go safely. It didn't land in Detroit or Chicago, is what I'm saying. Now, Publis says, quote, "Endeavour Air X account has 4 posts promoting female-only unmanned flights. They have turned off comments because most of the recent unmanned posts but the comments remain open to other 3. Based on available information, the names of these pilots on Delta flight were operated were those gals. Well, let's see here. Now, they're speculating that based on names of pilots on Delta, the flight operated by Endeavor Air crashed in Toronto have not been publicly disclosed. Got 440 likes. Cactus says nothing to worry about. It's a it is a screenshot of the website of Endeavor Air. It says, quote, a culture that celebrates diversity. Ironically, they have no men in the picture, so it's not really a diverse picture. That's the big irony of DEI. Now they say, quote, our diversity makes us stronger. At Endeavor, we build and foster a care and culture where differences are valued. We support inclusive environments where employees feel empowered to use their voice and share their experiences and perspectives. So you have, looks like they're all perhaps an Indian American, but you have African American ladies standing outside the plane, some being stewardess and some are pilots. Gained 57 likes. Nuclear powered veteran says, quote, diversity is great until it isn't all of a sudden. Gained 41 likes. Tina says, wholly owned by Delta, how Delta's deep dive in DEI, which good pun, get 14 likes for that. Which, yeah, the CEO adamantly said the number one category or number one thing they look at when they're getting new pilots is diversity. One would hope it'd be, qualifications, merit. That was diversity. Sparked a big controversy, but they still went for it. Diego says the pilots were itty bitty. Well, I was gonna say, it's too crass. Got 36 likes, but I won't go there. Ismail Santiago has more screenshots from the company's website where they have, all the lady pilots and all the lady stewardesses getting 2 likes. So, yeah, let's just say pretty cringe video and interesting business model. Perhaps long-term, this will be a great idea that makes them billions of dollars. I'm pretty skeptical, but in culturally speaking, there are some people who love this. There are people who will invest in these companies because they do it. I suspect those folks are in the minority on an individual shareholder perspective, but again, we have BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, the big investors love this types of things. So we'll see if they actually back off on these initiatives and if they'll ever actually know the truth about the pilots. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part of the podcast, we have DOGE finding $2 billion in taxpayer funds earmarked for Stacey Abrams' nonprofit. Now, this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, Stacey Abrams scammed uncovered by DOGE, allegedly. Oh, she just has a question mark. Who knows? But nevertheless, says, quote, DOGE found $2 billion in taxpayer dollars designated for a fledgling nonprofit called Power Forward Communities, which had close ties to Democrat Stacey Abrams. Power Forward Communities was only a few months old, with just $100 in the bank when it received a $2 billion grant in 2024. Jesus, $2 billion. On their website, they listed partnerships with 2 other nonprofits, both founded by Stacey Abrams. Abrams also serves as a senior counsel for Rewiring America, an organization that leads a coalition of groups, including Power Forward Communities. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have done a visual disclaimer. There's a picture of Stacey Abrams, which it's one of those things. When I was a kid, I was really bad at remembering people's names, which is even worse when considering a lot of my careers in sales. So I had to learn names better. And growing up, and I slowly got better and better. One of the best examples, or one of the best ways, rather, to remember names is word association. Now, I'm a pretty big gun nut. I love firearm history. I would love to own some big NFA items in the future. And I am fascinated by artillery as well. And one of the most iconic vehicles in military production ever would be the M1 Abrams tank. Now, a great word association. If you ever forget Stacey Abrams' name, remember she is roughly the size and weight of a Abrams tank and similar in color. And that's how I remember Stacey Abrams' names. Her teeth are also very similar to a tank tracks, very wide and far apart, which again, I mean, I had braces growing up, and yeah, it's a pretty penny. Some might argue it's a waste considering how I look now, but nevertheless, yeah, she's a multimillionaire. I'm surprised she has done that. She's mostly known for being a quote-unquote election denier, saying that for years, she actually won Georgia when again she lost. And yet, remember, the mainstream media only goes after Republicans for being, what do you call it, election deniers. But again, she's very popular in the Democratic community. She's very, what's the nice way, very abrasive personality. Is very easy to remember. She's great. Well, not really good at speaking, but she gets crowds riled up, gets donations, I bet. And yeah, some might say she's a contender for some future big political roles as they try to find anyone with a semblance of a future in the Democrat Party. Now, this got pretty viral. Got 14 million views as well as 85,000 likes. They also have the source being listed there, getting 12,000 likes. Base Electrician says, quote, "It's time to send Stacey Abrams behind bars no wider than her teeth." There's a screenshot of her looking very angry and awkward. Which, again, I mean, I don't have much ground to stand on if you're to screenshot most of this video, being me looking awkward. But some people do have a statistically greater percentage of the video looking awkward, probably including me. And that got 1.3 thousand likes. Democrat Media TM says, quote, let's see if my analogy and math is correct. Democrat and taxpayer money minus NGO equals money laundered to Stacey Abrams' failed campaign, getting 673 likes. Anti-woke memes, A+ for marketing. They did, in fact, respond in meme form, says, quote, "We need our money back and Stacey Abrams needs to start answering some questions." And there's this meme, and it says, quote, "Remember when Democrats hated election deniers so much, they had one cameo a president at Star Trek, which she was on is it a TV show? Or is it a movie? I know they both, but yeah, they had an instance where actually she was the president. Right after she lost her election, she went on the TV and she pretended to be president, which also shows how far Star Trek has fallen in quality. And that got 746 likes. Paul Zupa says, "Morbidly obese scamming 311 likes." He also says, "Wow, Stacey Abrams never loses again, getting 929 likes." Todd says, quote, "I'm not convinced that money laundering is the only way that the DNC can survive as a party. The Democrats' last dying efforts to remain legitimate." There's a skeleton and it says, quote, "Don't mind me, just waiting for Democrats to be held accountable for anything," getting 2.7 thousand likes. I also have anti-left memes with an appropriate meme. And it's a picture of Biden. It says stolen election. Then Kamala says stolen nomination. And Tim Walz says stolen valor. It says Democrats to the party of liars and thieves, getting 3.7 thousand likes. We also have Nirji, in which Nirji says, quote, $2 billion, we need our taxes confiscated back. Corruption is deep. Her wealth went up 3,000%. Jesus. There's a picture of Stacey Abrams looking actually more composed than the other picture, which, well, granted, any other picture would be. And it says, since losing the election, failed candidate was in debt 3 years ago, now worth more than $3 million. Yeah, why these all these people getting elected, becoming millionaires should be investigated immediately. And don't get me wrong, there's some folks on the right as well. Should be investigated thoroughly. Stop Socialist Tyranny says, quote, "Just like another example of liberal elites lining their pockets with taxpayer dollars, Stacey Abrams' shady dealings exposed once again. This is what happens when Democrats are in power. Corruption and cronyism run rampant, and American people suffer from it. Thank DOGE for getting this to the forefront." Got 1.5 thousand likes. I Love American News says, quote, "Trump won Georgia 3 times. And then there's a picture compilation of the safe and secure election. It says, quote, "Never forget, Trump was leading Georgia by 160,000 votes. Then a water pipe burst and 4 suitcases came out," which, yeah, interesting. All the coincidences. They got 6.1 thousand likes. Matt Von Swole says, quote, $2 billion for Stacey Abrams, $750 per person for Hurricane Helene victims. Got 6.3 thousand likes. Excuse me. Apple Lamps says, "I wonder if she paid her fines yet." And this is a screenshot from last month from Apple Lamps saying, quote, "2 voter advocacy organizations founded by Democrat Stacey Abrams have been fined $300,000 by Georgia Ethics Commission for violating state campaign finance laws." I'm sure she didn't. Got 1.5 thousand likes. Oh, this is a good meme. From Scorch, says, quote, "She stole a ton of money," and says, quote, "The problem isn't that Democrats are unethical, corrupt, lying, criminal dirtbags. Everyone knows that. The problem is supporters don't care," getting 6.4 thousand likes. Yeah. I mean, again, it's not the whole party, but there's a significant percentage of the Democrat Party that simply says and does vote blue no matter who. I also have David Sullivan, suspect his pronouns are prosecute Fauci, says handcuffs and perp walk. It's a Photoshop of Trump holding up a poster, and it says, "Watch me actually do what I said," getting 450 likes. So, and one more. 2 more. We'll do 2 more. Scorch says, "And that's just what she stole to spend on groceries." And there's a picture of USA. It says USA Laundry Service stealing launder repeat open 24 hours since 1961. Then you also have Joe Miller saying, "I see you, Abrams." It's a picture of RFK Jr. and looking serious. And it says in the car, it says, "Get in, we're getting rid of fat people." Gained 470 likes. So, yeah, we'll see how much of that money gets back into our pockets, if anything. And if she ever is actually, she gets convicted for any of this fraud. But yeah, $2 billion earmarked for her. Yeah, let's just say I'm a big fan of DOGE, and hopefully, if we just stop all this BS spending, I almost wonder if we are at a deficit every year in terms of our spending. If we get rid of all the crap, would it actually be close to zero or even positive maybe with us paying off the debt? Who knows? I can't help but think it's a possibility. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Ryobi lawnmowers being recalled, or some people call them cryobi. Now, this is brought to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, in which they say, quote, "TTI, outdoor power equipment manufacturer, recalls Ryobi battery-powered mowers due to a fire risk," which, some things shouldn't be battery-powered. That's why it can't be a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower, which actually uses gas, which, well, not only runs, you could actually fix it yourself, which I love. Now, here you can see the disgustingly green Ryobi, which usually I'm a fan of green. Green cars are awesome. I obviously love my green Garmin watch. But yeah, something about green equipment for outdoors and tools just seem low quality and rudimentary. And in the tool community, a lot of people make fun of Ryobi because it's the cheaper one. It's usually considered less durable. It's usually what the moms buy. But fun fact, and a lot of the true tool guys know this. Well, Ryobi is owned by TTI out of China. And spoiler alert, they also own Milwaukee, which a lot of people consider contract grade and the best of the best. But they're both owned by the same parent company. Inherently, you're going to have some parts share over. Now, they say that, quote, "The recall involves certain Ryobi brushless 21 cordless walk-behind self-propelled multi-blade push mowers. The mowers have a black cutting deck and gray top housing alongside a black bag with Ryobi printed on it. The recall only includes model numbers, geez Louise, RY41014BTLUS. Let me put this on screen because it has like 20. That's a gajillion numbers. Yeah, realistically, just call them because that's, geez Louise, way too many. Quite a few. Yeah, pretty much if it starts with RY4010, give them a call. Now, they say that, quote, "Consumers should immediately stop using the recalled mower and contact TTI Outdoor Power Equipment for instructions on how to disable the recalled mower and receive a free replacement 21-inch walk-behind mower." Which, yeah, it sounds like they're not getting ahead of the situation. Unfortunately, there's also been some instance. They also note that about, 217,500 of these pieces of junk were sold. And additionally, about 28,400 were sold in Canada. Which, yeah, that's not great. Now, the hazard is, they quote, "The recalled mowers have a push-on connector inside the power head that can overheat, posing a fire hazard." Whoops. And there you can see that little, if you pop the top of the funny looking thing, the label inside is where you'll see the actual model number and serial number, so you can call them and let them know what it is and see if it's actually affected by you. Or rather, if it's actually affected by the recall specifically. They're sold at Home Depot, because, yeah, some of those exclusive contracts, and direct tool factories nationwide. HomeDepot.com and DirectTools.com from February 2021 to January 2025 for between $500 and $700. All that money for a disposable piece of junk? Why would you do that? I've had my push mower for years, good old Briggs & Stratton gas-powered mower. The only thing I've had to do, well, when it was in storage for many years when I bought it, I had to replace the carburetor, which I could do myself. Again, pro being able to fix their own stuff and right to repair. And it's worked like a champ ever since. You don't have to worry about all the myriad of electronics and proprietary intellectual property, all that crap in the good old Briggs & Stratton case. But I partially digress. They note that the recall number is 25-127. Again, 25-127. Now, in terms of instance, they note that TTI has received 97 reports of overheating while the mower is in use, including 5 reports of fire, as well as 2 minor burn injuries have been reported thus far. Which, yeah, I guess if you do think of the glass half full, thankfully, this is an instance where no one passed away from this, no one's died. But, yeah, you're still having people that are burned from this, and multiple fires, and overheating, where it's already a pain in the ass to use these things. So, not great news for a company that's trying to go even more and expand their portfolio, sending more stuff, which, again, DeWalt and all the major manufacturers are doing this, where you have one battery to rule them all. You can put in all your crap, which is bad when the batteries inevitably die, but nevertheless, another topic for another time perhaps. And people already make fun of Ryobi for not being like what is perceived as one of the best quality tools out there. So to have such a big recall on a product that's supposed to be, pretty profitable for the company, again, $500 to $700 for that thing. Gotta say, Ryobi, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.